Welcome to yet another non-entertaining but highly educational video on math. We're doing 4.4 for the grade 8 class, surface area of a right triangular prism. So starting simple, area of a rectangle, we know this is length times width. And of course, if we're talking area, we square whatever unit we are in. And now we'll review the area of the triangle, and if I recall, the area of a triangle, our formula was base times height divided by 2, because what we looked at was when we did parallelograms, we had discussed that if I had a parallelogram such as this, I would take base times height. And if I were to cut it in half, I end up with two triangles, so each triangle would be half. So in this case, our base appears to be 5 centimeters, blanked for a second there, 5 centimeters times the height, which is 4 centimeters. Now note, we're not talking about how far it is from here to there. We're talking about how high off the ground that tip would be. And then that's divided by 2. So that'd be 5 times 4 is 20 divided by 2. So area equals 10 centimeters squared. And that is my final answer for that. But now we're going to apply this to triangular prisms. So it says here, I'm going to provide you a triangular prism. So we're going to use one of these happy little shapes. So here is my triangle, and it is a triangular prism. Now, if I were to fold it down into a net, we can see that to find the surface area, I need the area of this, plus this triangle, and this triangle. And of course, we know that some of these will be identical to each other. It says find the surface area of the triangular prism. So I'm going to get a ruler so I can do that. All right, now that I have a ruler, let's get our measurements. And I'm actually going to use a whiteboard marker to record right on top of here because I can wipe it off. So let's see, this one measures 7 centimeters. I see 7 centimeters by 7.5. 7 by 7.5. So I guess that would mean this is also 7.5. And I'll bet you the opposite end would also be 7 and 7.5 as well, because I know that when they came together, these were identical, opposite from each other. But I'll just double check to make sure. Sure enough, 7 centimeters. Let's see, the base is 7, and once again 7.5. I don't even need to measure. And the base of this triangle is of course 7, and its height, its height appears to be 6. So if I get the height here, we have 6 centimeters, and of course the opposite end would be exactly the same, so I won't even measure. I'll do some calculations and find some areas. Okay, after using a calculator, I've had a little help, because I know 7 times 7 is 49, but I wasn't quite sure about this. So let's see, 7 times 7.5 equals 52.5 centimeters squared. But you know what? I'm going to take this, I'm going to times it by 3. Why 3? Because I noticed 7 and 7.5. 7 and 7.5, 7, 7.5. These ones were all identical in this case. So I'm just going to triple that up into, that would be 107.5. So I know that I've got 107.5 is the area of 1, 2, 3 of them together. Now I just need these two triangles. So an area of a triangle is base times height over 2. So the base is 7 times 6 over 2. 7 times 6 equals 42 divided by 2 equals 21 centimeters. And I'm going to say that's times 2 because I know I've got 2 sides that are identical. So times 2 is going to be 42 centimeters squared. So I now have 42 centimeters plus 107.5. That gives me a total 149.5 centimeters squared, and that is the total. Because when I did this, I noticed 7 times 7.5 is 52.5 centimeters squared. This was also the same because the dimensions were the same. This was the same. And then the area of each triangle, add them all up, and I have the surface area of my triangular prism. So a right triangular prism has 5 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the net of that rectangular prism or triangular prism. So we have all the sizes. So I see 20 by 15. I've got 15. Got 20 here, 20 here, all the same. 9, and I know that this is the same as that because they're indicated, so that's 9. So all I have to do is put them all together. So I've got 9 times 20 equals 180, and I'm going to go times 2 because I know that this one and this one are the same size. They're both 9 by 20, so that equals 360 centimeters squared. And then I've got 15 by 20 equals, let's see, that'd be 2 and 300. So now I've got one number, 2 numbers to add up, and this one is 300. Now I'm going to do the triangles. I've got a base of 15 times a height of 5. It's not 9, it's 5 right there, divided by 2. 75 divided by 2 is 37.5. And I'm going to go ahead and times that by 2 because this one and this one are identical. So I'm going to go by 2, so that equals 75 more. Now I just have to add these 3 numbers up. So I've got 360. That's the area of this one and this one. I have 300, and I have 75 for a grand total 735 centimeters squared. So if we look here, it says surface area of a triangular prism is the sum of the area of all its faces. We found the area of all the faces and we summed them up. We added them together. I should really put the addition symbol there. So rectangle A was 20 times 9 for 180. Rectangle B has an area of 20 times 15 for 300. Rectangle C, once again, it was 20 by 90 for 180. Triangle D had an area of half times 15 times 5, because that was 15 times 5, half. So instead of doing what we did base times height divided by half, they had half times 15 times 5. So that's the exact same, because there are 2 formulas for a triangle. There is half times the base times the height, or the way we've been doing it in class, we do base times height cut in half. That's my preference personally, but this time they did it this way. This example once again shows that you need to add up all its faces. It has a triangular prism, flattens it out. Once it's flattened out, you can see that you find the face of each one. So this one here was 40 by 29 for a total there. This one was once again 40 by 31. That was the middle piece for that. This was 40 by 20, because when that one flattens out, it goes there. So we're just going to add all those up. Then we needed the triangles on the end. Well, once again, they use the half, but I don't like that one as much. I prefer this way. So I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to do area equals, the base is, what is that, 31, and the height is 18. And that's divided by 2, and that gives us the 279 that they show here. They have the exact same answer. And of course that would be twice, so we'd have 279 plus 279 plus 1240 plus 8 plus 1160, and that would give us our total area. So I think by now you've got the gist of how we can find out the total area. I highly encourage students to take these nets, fold them up, take a look at how rectangular prisms can be unfolded that you can find the area of each shape and add them up. This should hopefully be an easy review after last week's quiz. Let me know if you have questions.